All right, Shalom. It's your brother Quashab coming back at you with another lesson. Before I get started, I want to give our praises, glory, and infinite honors unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who taught me the truth and rule well, in peace. Blessings and salutations be to those elect, as well as those that believe in the gospel and may you endure to the end, Lord willing. All right, and I just want to get into another M.O.T.B episode. All right, basically going into, the elites being caught in a snare, all right, a trap, and them being in straits, man, all right? Because as you can see, the rebellion is on, all right, against AI, against this, like Elder Yashua puts it, against this technocracy, man. People are realizing that what they signed up for, isn't what it really is, with the whole merging man with machine, all right, that fourth industrial revolution, all right, as I went into time and time again, but on this lesson, we just gonna kind of hone in on, people rebelling, all right, them being against, all right, this technocracy, all right, that's being set up before your eyes, man, all right. Now, it says, it's just something that you can read, but I don't really have nothing there. That's just a caption. All right. Now I'm gonna get into, a couple videos, and I got a few precepts, but I just want to read this, and I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna actually let it play. All right. Matter of fact, I'll read it, and then I got a couple videos I want to play, just to show you that, the people the plan isn't going as smooth, all right, as they thought, and we just in the beginning stages of them trying to finish setting up the system, all right, where things are governed by AI, where they institute the M.O.T.B, all right, and everything's online, all right. Them putting the finishing touches over everything, still being put in a difficult position, right? Now it says Palantir versus John and Jane Doe over cognitive liberty. All right. Clayton Morris interviews Ryan James, director of CIA relations, MUFON, and CIA whistleblower, right? And we're gonna get that in Psalms, the 64th chapter, all right? Because there's always somebody blowing a whistle, all right, on this information, all right? These different things that come out, and we take the information, we use it, and we filter them through the scriptures, man, all right? But it says a groundbreaking federal lawsuit has been filed against Palantir Technologies and its founder, Peter Thiel, right? And what this guy, Peter Thiel, he actually moved out of the U.S. I think one of those countries, like somewhere, man, like Argentina, I believe, or somewhere, around that region, all right, which he's the CEO, or he's the founder, all right, and the CEO, Alex Karp, alleging the company has crossed a constitutional Rubicon. The complaint accuses Palantir of deploying its powerful AI surveillance tools normally used by the Pentagon against the American public to monitor citizens, harvest biometric data, and censor speech. Plaintiffs claim the company is developing synthetic intelligence to predict human behavior, a pre-crime system that violates cognitive liberty by trespassing into the human mind. All right, and what was that? Was that Minority Report? Straight out the movie, man. And that movie was over 25 years ago. All right, showing you that was what they were getting ready to do here in this future dystopian society, man. All right, now I'm gonna let the video of
Technocrat zillionaires are starting to get scared as the public turns against them.
I'm gonna let this play.
By Joe Wilkins via Futurism.
And then I got another video.
On every conceivable front, students, homeowners, labor, businesses, Americans are rising up to reject AI and the technocrats behind it. Klaus Schwab's statement 10 years ago about you will be happy was just as stupid as visualized world peace. You don't speak your reality into existence. Behind that facade, their lies and propaganda are catching up with them.
And this is basically when you look at a Klaus Schwab, when you look at Elon Musk, these are left-handed priests, put in front of your face, by the true priesthood, the modern day Chaldeans, and they are speaking their will into existence. All right.
Their bunkers and billions won't help them in the end. Patrick Wood, editor. There's no doubt that the broader public has turned against AI in a serious way. In the United States, a YouGov poll found that 3/4 of Americans think AI should be more heavily regulated, an anxiety shared across the political aisle.
They want AI more heavily regulated. And Trump is doing everything in his power so that, the whole country and all 50 United States have no regulation, all over the world, no regulation on this AI, because this is how they plan on governing this new world order.
Economists observe.
Which is why you have different state governments, trying to pass these different amendments and laws to where they can govern on what they use the AI for, But on the other hand, you have the federal government, pushing it as hard as they can, right? Because we understand that they're trying to establish that M.O.T.B, man. All right, real quick, we'll come back to this. Is because they understand they ain't got a short time, right? This Revelation 12:12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time." All right. And that's why, ultimately, Esau Edom, all right, the so-called white man, and he's the chief ruler of them, these elite bankers are just going to just go ahead and say, fuck it, man. All right. They're just going to say, whatever, we going to go forward with it anyway. All right. And that's when all hell, is going to be breaking loose, man. And we can already see the people are at a point of either crashing out, all right, or killing themselves. The people are at a boiling point. The society is at a boiling point, man. So it's only a matter of months before, SHTF, man. These people know that their time is up. All right. They know that this is the end of their rulership, you see, which is why the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, in the name of his son, is making them finish prophecy. All right. Complete prophecy, man. Not one jot nor tittle. So these things must come to pass. All right. And I'll just read
the U.S. populace is likewise increasingly fearful of the economic impacts of AI, especially as powerful tech companies pour money into state and federal elections. The U.S. populace is likewise increasingly fearful of the economic impacts of AI, especially as powerful tech companies pour money into state and federal elections.
Right. You have people that just been, Amazon, all of these different companies that's just been cutting thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs, man. Right. Why? Because they're being replaced with artificial intelligence, And in this lesson, the Elder Yashimama did, he went into how Ford, I saw the article yesterday, basically bringing back the engineers because the AI, it failed to replicate.
As that anger boils over, people are increasingly channeling their frustration toward data centers. One of the few tangible points of leverage ordinary people have against.
All right.
As that anger boils over, people are increasingly channeling their frustration toward data centers. One of the few tangible points of leverage ordinary people have against.
And there's been rebellions against that. People signing, all of these, forgot what they call them. What is it? Recall or, damn, what's the word? Something with a petition. Oh, man, it escaped me right now. But, you have people signing these petitions, all right? Yeah, so they don't put certain data centers in different places because, it's destroying the community, right? It's poisoning the water.
Otherwise untouchable, trillion-dollar tech industry. The world's tech billionaires are taking notice, carving out distant island compounds and private jet fleets in case of revolution. Mark Cuban, who made his vast fortune during the dot-com boom and has publicly beefed with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, is now warning his fellow moguls that the public's discontent runs far deeper than AI. WAs reported by Fortune. Cuban tweeted that it's time for everyone to realize that the fight against data centers has nothing to do with data centers. They have become a proxy for the hate towards AI and the concentration and accumulation of wealth it's creating. Whether the public is really as unconcerned about soaring electricity prices, water shortages, and pollution, as Cuban makes it out to be, remains to be seen. But at least, the billionaire class appears to be paying at least some degree of attention. Evidently fearful that AI backlash could spiral into some kind of socialist revolt, the billionaire offered a laundry list of ways the tech industry could placate the apparently witless public. These include donating billions of dollars to small towns and cities, extending an olive. The billionaire offered a laundry list of ways the tech industry could placate the apparently witless public. These include donating billions of dollars to small towns and cities, extending an olive.
Right. And it says what? That they fear some type of revolution or revolt, right?
Start moving. Start doing the things that naturally improve your longevity.
Right?
Great oral care. Taking care of your teeth.
Basically says what happens when you introduce in terms.
Well, we told you about the extinction level event that is coming, and now we have our clearest sign yet that it's being accelerated. But some brave individuals are trying to stop it. A new groundbreaking lawsuit, arguably one of the most important lawsuits in history, has just been filed against one of the most powerful and
right, and it's coming to a point to where it don't matter how many lawsuits, the Constitution, like I read in Revelation 12:12, this devil gonna come down with great wrath. He's not gonna care about no lawsuits. Hey man, he's not gonna care about your constitutional rights either. You don't have any rights. All right. These devils are going to do what's in the power of their hands to do, and that's
America, Palantir
to the best of their ability, establish the
along
NWO,
with its billionaire founder Peter Thiel, CEO Alex Karp, and the COO Shyam Sankar. Now, the plaintiffs are listed anonymously in this complaint as John Doe and Jane Doe, but it's way bigger than just these names. They allege that Palantir has crossed a constitutional Rubicon, if you will, using its artificial intelligence systems to surveil, profile, to monitor U.S. citizens, harvest our biometric data, censor online speech, and even interfere with elections. And it goes much deeper than all of that. The plaintiffs are accusing Palantir of developing what they call synthetic intelligence, technology that merges machine reasoning with human behavior prediction, pre-crime, Minority Report style stuff, effectively trespassing into the human mind. They claim it violates basic rights in privacy, free speech, cognitive liberty. Cognitive liberty. It's a new phrase, a term gaining traction among digital.
All right, I want to look that up. Let's see, what is cognitive liberty? It says cognitive liberty is the fundamental right to self-determination over one's own brain and mental experiences. Often described as the freedom of thought, for the digital age, it accomplishes two main ideas: the right to mental privacy, being free from unwanted neural surveillance or manipulation, and the right to use or alter your consciousness using neural technologies and or substances. Right out of the movie Upgrade, even what they're doing with the brain-computer interfaces, right? Giving them ability to walk, talk, drive, right? It's manipulating the brain, right? And if you watch the movie Upgrade, you can, they basically gave him a C-hip and a chocolate chip cookie, right? And then this dude was able to just do all manners of crazy stuff, all right, as far as
privacy
actions,
advocates.
right?
I'm glad
we're
going to have this discussion.
Paralyzed,
James Martinez, it's an MK Ultra whistleblower. He received information about this lawsuit a long time ago, and we had him on to discuss this extinction level event that is coming. And I was just speaking to James a few minutes ago, who said this is an accelerant. This is speeding up this extinction level event. And James joins us once again here.
Right, it's an accelerant. It's speeding things up, you see? So we understand that, man, the devil got a short time, all right? You just got to keep fighting, keep pushing. You know, we almost home, man, all right? So this is Psalm 64 and verse 6. It says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep, all right? And their hearts are deep, right? I tell you in Ezekiel the 28th chapter that thou art wiser than Daniel, man, you know? So their hearts are deep, you know? Their minds go far, you know? It says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow, suddenly shall they be wounded, and so shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee away, all right? And that's what we're seeing. So like that's what we're seeing, you know, when you have these different guys, you know, like he got on the show, these different whistleblowers and these people that, you know, put that information out there to tell you, you know, what's actually going on and the different inner workings of things that are happening, right? Their own tongue, their own people are telling on them, you know? That's why I said, if Satan cast out Satan, you know, let me get that real quick. I'm not ending it off in a joke. Let's say it's just a quick lesson, man. Mark 3 and 23, it says, and he called to them and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And you have the people, right, that working class, all right, what, you know, we call the so-called middle class, when you have them standing up against, you know, the technocrats, right, it's an issue there. It says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but had an end. You see? So there's nothing left, all right, for Esau Edom, but just to be ended, man. Just go forward with your NWO, all right, and what you're gonna fail miserably at. So we can bring in the kingdom, all right, bring in Yahushua, right? So that the Lord could come back, man. All right. But this is Job chapter 20. That's what we're doing. This is Job chapter 20 and verse 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. All right. So when you read it in NLT, it says, in the midst of plenty, they will run into trouble and will be overcome by misery. Right. So let's get these two words, right? Straits and it says to bind, to be distressed. All right. Be camped, to be narrow. Right. When there's something that's narrow, that means you can barely fit through it. Right. It says to be straitened, to be vexed, to suffer distress. All right. So when they're trying to accomplish their NW0, they're going to be, you know, and just vexed because they're not going to be able to get it done. All right. Now I want to get this word, the wicked, right? So it should be Amal, right? It goes into the working class, right? The same class that's suing them. All right. Signing, making, creating all these petitions, right? So that, you know, they don't making it harder for them to get the job done, right? It says a laborer, a sufferer, a workman, okay? Which goes into what? The working class, the class that keeps the economy afloat. All right, they're going to be the ones to rebel, all right, against the NWO and the system, okay? Yeah, you know, we not going to be, you know, we not with it either, you know, but they're going to be the ones that starts the uprising and starts to stir things up, you know, which is why the Most High, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right, which is why they allow, you know, these different things and these information to come out, you know. But